What's going on, everybody? Today is Wednesday, February the 12th. I just got in the shop. It's about 4 p.m. Got off work, came straight here. Obviously, Monday and Tuesdays, I've mentioned before, I am MIA from the shop until March 11th. After that, we'll be good. Pops has been working on bolting parts on our new engine in our personal car. Looks like he's got the water pump, pulleys, fan, and all mounted on it. Power steering pump. Looks like he's got it all hooked up and shimmed where it needs to be. So I'll show you that here in just a second. It's a little chilly in here. It ain't but about 50 degrees outside, but man, it is raining. And in the past 48 hours, we've gotten about 4 inches of rain, 4 or 5 inches of rain. So I've got the heater on just to kind of knock the chill out of here. And we're gonna get some work done on the factory stock. We're gonna get back on Carson's chassis tonight and or this evening and get some more done on it. Tonight I plan to put a bunch of 1 1/4 in it. I'm actually gonna do a down bar right there under the dash bar, and then I may go ahead and do the mid plate bars right in here. I'm not sure yet. Probably need to go ahead and knock those out, and then we can get some 1 1/4 tubing and do a bunch of 1 1/4 bracing. And then once we get that done, we can continue with halo A-pillar bars, and I may do them a little different. I'm thinking I may do them different, so we'll see. Roof is leaking. We're not sure where it's leaking, but it's leaking. There's all kind of water over there in the floor, and it's dripping from right up in there somewhere, right in there. So, but anyway, we're gonna get to it. Pops will be down here in a minute, I'm sure. I'm sure he's seen me pull in, so he may be eating some supper or something. But we're gonna get to it. Y'all hang out. Alrighty, so Pops has been busy. Last night I stopped by and on my way before class, and he had some bolts that he had to go get. So it looks like stainless bolts in the water pump. All the gaskets are on it. Looks like all that's been siliconed and everything lines up good. He's got the power steering pump on. Looks like it's tight. So fan, which we bought a new fan. We actually had it on there on the crate, but fuel pump plate he had to purchase, and he had to purchase a fuel pump rod, and I can see it up in there. So that stuff that was already on Matt Brown's engine, so we didn't want to take anything off of his engine to put on ours. So, by the way, this raffle is on my Facebook. I've had people ask. Chris McGuire, McGuire is how I spell my last name. That's on my personal page, and Matt has shared it himself. We have dropped the price. Matt gave me the okay to go ahead and drop the price. It is $50 a spot. So y'all jump on Facebook. Let's fill that drawing up so we can get that drawn for him and somebody get a really good motor. But Pop's got his temp sensor in, light for the gauges. This is for the temp gauge. Of course, our HEI wire. It looks like he's got his oil pressure stem in and the oil pressure line hooked up. So, speaking of which, let me see if I can find it. We had one years ago, and we couldn't find it. I think it may have got loaned out to somebody. So, God, this is a mess. So we grabbed an old distributor the other night, pulled the guts out of it, Pops cut it up, and then I welded a washer and a socket on it, just making a oil pump primer so we can prime the oil pump. And so we made this the other night. Go ahead and lay that up there. He got some high heat red silicone for the headers. we'll work on getting those on because they're over here. So, but what we'll do is our mid-plate bars, once we get them in and we get the mid-plate mounts in on the top, then we'll pull these headers off and get ready to prep those to put back on here. So I do need to, Pops and I have discussed this. I keep seeing these popping up on Facebook used on Marketplace and on some of the pages. I need to buy another set of these just for this, for building these chassis for mock-up. That way I don't have to keep using mine. Because now, when those go on there, they're not coming back off. So, however, I know somebody's going to say, well, if you build them all the same, which all this up here is the same. So, yes, I do know where my bars need to go. I can take them off. The only reason I put them on was to make sure everything down here this time was good, in which we got plenty of clearance, as you can see. All right, as you can see. I was trying to say as you can tell and mix the two words there. As you can see. So we got a lot of work to do right here. We've got some reinforcements coming Sunday. My nephews are going to come out. Griffin, the one that y'all remember in the video where we painted the chassis for the points champion. He's the long-haired, skinny one. He's really good at body work. So he's going to help do some sheet metal work. Coley is good at the mechanic side of it. Griffin as well. They both grew up in this shop right here just like I did. So they're both good at all that stuff. And they're going to come give us a hand. The reason being, North Alabama had a practice. Y'all remember me mentioning in the video. And now they've decided they want to have another practice the 22nd, which is a week from this Saturday. So it'll be a week from this Saturday, they're having another practice. And we would like to make it. Dustin Riley, shout out to you, buddy. I know you're going to watch this. And he's offered to loan me some lead and to get it scaled. And then, to be honest with you, we probably just need to see if he'll sell it to us. And we'll just purchase the lead from him. And that way, when we put it on the car and get it where we want it, it'll be right. It'll be there. So we're going to try to get there. The doors are made. The fender tops are made. The sides are made for the passenger side fender. But there's a few more pieces we got to make. And we got to make a hood. So we're going to try to. We're going to try to get that done between now and next Friday. That's including scaling and everything. So, we haven't gotten our shocks yet. I had a set of Bilstein SMX shocks I bought for the car. I ended up selling them because there was a shock company that came to me and wanted to sponsor us a set of shocks. And when they initially called me, they said, we would like to build you a set of shocks if you'll put our name on your car and give us a shout out on YouTube. There's Pops. Yeah, I told you he was eating. I told him he's probably eating supper. So I told those folks, okay, that we would do that deal, but I have since not heard anything from them. So now I've got to purchase more shocks. Deals like that, man, they put a bad taste in your mouth, and I know I have no reason to have a bad taste in my mouth. They were going to give me a pair of shocks. I get that, but now I'm sitting here with no shocks. And so I'm going to have to get some. Hopefully I can get some between now and next Friday. So hopefully if we don't get it scaled, hopefully we can get the body work done next week. If we don't get it scaled by Friday, I'm hoping that everything else is done on the car to where we can scale it Saturday morning, and that'll be all we have left. And that way we can make practice.
Keeps up this weather, we're going to put pontoons on it.
Yeah, that's right. But I'm going to throw the phone up on the tripod. We're going to get busy on this chassis and see what we can get knocked out on it tonight. And then that way tomorrow and Friday and Saturday, we can get pretty good ways on the chassis. And then Sunday, we can work on our car. So y'all hang out with us. We're gonna build a factory stock. All right, so I got the dash bar support here. I got my mid plate bar here. Mid plate bracket welded on. So if you've been following, y'all know we bend these. I like to have clearance in here between the header so it don't get too hot on that bar. A straight bar will go in there, but barely. But I would hate to try to put the header on with that straight bar in there. So what I'm gonna do now is come over and do my driver's side mid plate bar, which this bar straight, so because the header is in pretty far on this side. Pops was working on the 1-inch stuff back here. So he got the 1-inch pieces cut for our bracing to the shock mounts. And so we'll get those welded on. And then we gotta get some 1.25 inch down. When we get it down, well, then we'll do the bracing to the spring pockets. So that'll be 1.25 inch from here to there. And then, of course, all this in here is 1.25 inch. You know, we put a V in the top, and then we put a kicker up to here. Then we have a straight piece and a straight piece behind the driver. And then we have 1.25 inch supporting the rear clip down low. And then, of course, we went to 1.5 inch up top from here to the dash bar, or this corner right here, because y'all know we run that 1.5 inch in here to bolt lead to. So we're getting there. We're knocking it on out. I didn't want the time lapse to be real long, and I wanted to stop it and at least explain what we were doing. Somebody commented on the last video and said that they liked that we stop and explain what we're doing, and that they have used our videos to help them build stuff. So, I mean, we're not here to keep secrets. I don't know why chassis building is so secretive to some people. I mean, it's not like you can do so much to them. We're just trying to help others that are small shops like we are, and if you want to take that step to build you a chassis, go for it. Fleming Family Racing, if I don't know if y'all follow them or not, but I can't remember the guy's name. I'm sorry. He was talking about his pure stock, and he was doing some upgrades to his cage that people had suggested to him, and then he commented and said that he would like to build his own one day. I say go for it. I mean, me and Pop's been wanting to do this for years, and we finally done it. Now look, we're building number 12. So go for it. But right now, I'm gonna throw it back on time lapse. I'm gonna get that 1.5 inch knocked out real quick for the mid plate bar, and then we're gonna get some 1.25 inch down and get to slinging a lot more braces at this thing. So y'all hang out. All right, so now I got that bar tacked in and the mid plate mount welded on, and so that one's straight. Obviously, plenty of clearance on this side. If anybody's worked on a metric frame before, you know that the motor's not centered between the upper control arm mounts. It's offset to one side. Easy to tell how much space you got here and how much space you got here. So that's why that bar can be straight and this bar has to be bent a little bit. Those headers bend out away from the motor the same on both sides. So now I've got some 083 right here, and I'm gonna work on doing my diagonals. I'll get one here and then one right here. That one can be welded in. This one can be tacked in because we have to measure and put our hole in our firewall for it. We cut it out, put the firewall in, and then stick it back through the firewall. So since we got some 083 laying here, I'll probably go ahead and do what I can with the 083. The diagonals, brace them back there, and our crossbar for our weight, and see what all we can do there. Also, something I just noticed, this piece is bent in the right bend for the driver's side to match this right here. So it'll go in right there and do the same thing as this. So that's what we're gonna do next. I'll make these diagonals real quick and get those welded in, and then we'll pick back up here in just a minute when we can start to do some bracing in the back. Y'all hang out. All right, so as y'all seen in that time lapse, Pops and I were working on the diagonals in the passenger side. Obviously, I'm wearing a different shirt right now. That's because today's Wednesday, February the 19th, and it's about 6:30 probably, 6:30, something like that. Maybe even later than that, I don't know. Pops and I have been down here this evening working on Carson's factory stock chassis, and it's been a crazy week. We had power outages over the weekend because we had tornadoes, and Tuscumbia, the town, we live in the county outside of Tuscumbia, but we have a Tuscumbia address, but in town they got hit pretty hard. And a lot of buildings tore up. It was an EF1 is what they rated it. Tornado went through town for a little ways, and it done a lot of damage. So there were a lot of trees down, a lot of flooding, a lot of crap. So Pops and I were in and out of the shop in between all the mess. And then of course today it snowed. So it's just been our weather the past 4 days. So we finally got able to come down here in the shop Monday and Tuesday again, wash for me. So we've been in the shop. We've been busy. We've gotten a lot done since the last time lapse. So I'll turn the camera around here in just a second and show y'all everything we've gotten done, because some people have seen the changes and some people haven't, and they're going to change even more. We're going to tweak what we've done on this one to make it a little better. So I'll just show y'all what we got going on. Y'all hang out. All right. So as you can see, we have the A-pillar, halo, and everything in it. Drive shaft loop. And then Pops and I tonight, we knocked out the rear clip, all of our bracing to our spring perches. Y'all know when Pops had the 1 inch done, so he knocked out the 1.25 inches. And we got all that welded in, rear clip built. Of course, we'll X-brace under the fuel cell once we get the 1 inch tubing down. So we do that with 1 inch. I don't feel like it needs to be 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches, because if you bend that 2x2 tubing right there, you've bent some pretty good stuff. So, little different design. I've had people message me asking if I would ever consider building a double halo car. And really, I get what they're saying, but it's technically not a double halo, right? So I think it's called a Hewitt bar or something on the outside over there. We call it a head support bar. Either way, basically you're just doing a double head support. People call it a double halo, I guess, because you're putting a bar in the halo. So what we done, this bar, the outside of the halo and the A-pillar, all one bar. And we've done this in the past. A lot of people don't know because it's not on video, but we built an open wheel a few years ago. 4 years ago, as a matter of fact. It was in 21, I think. And we done the A-pillar and halo like this. So Pops and I wanted to try it. Again, there's some stuff that I'd like to do different. We doing them straight up and down. If you look from the front, that bar is straight up and down with that bottom bar, so it all ties in. So on the next one, I want to bring that in just a little bit up top and angle this A-pillar out so it looks a little better. On the driver's side, however, I do want to leave it straight up and down. It gets the halo out further away from the driver. So even though it may not make sense because you're putting bars in here, but we're going to work on that too. I'm thinking about bringing this forward so there's nothing above the driver's head. And I know some people are going to say, well, that's why this is there, is to protect the driver's head. You're correct, but there's better ways to do it. And I'll get to that later. I'll show that later on when I make changes. But I guess you could call this a double halo chassis. It's very stout. I mean, all this is 120 wall. So it stiffened up everything. It is braced really good. And it looks pretty good. So there's just a few changes here and there we're going to make. And then we'll have a new design that we like. And I like it. And then also where we were bringing our halo out and then our A-pillars laid back, our windshield bars were welding to the front of the halo and they were more straight up and down. Kind of like my chassis. I like that. I think it looks more sleek if they're laid back with the A-pillar bar. So with this one, we'll be able to weld to this bar and then they'll be in line with the A-pillar. So it'll look a little cleaner. We're trying to make them better, y'all. It's just part of us doing all this is trying to make it better. Also, if you're not friends with me on Facebook or TikTok, you should follow us on TikTok. We got this bad girl running. So Pops and I come down here Sunday.
Yeah.
The power was in and out Sunday morning. So Sunday evening about noon, I guess we decided to just start thrashing on it. And I had to run down some stuff. We had to get more fuel. And Pops and I put the headers on it, mounted the carb on it permanently, had to do some work on the throttle rod. We locked out the distributor. I didn't video any of this, y'all. I'm sorry. We done our own lockout on the distributor. It's perfect. It's actually, we had it cranked and running. We ran it for about 30 minutes, really.
Yep.
Brian, the engine builder, told us to run it for 20 minutes at 2,000 RPM to get the cam broke in. We actually ran it about 30 minutes because it was kind of cold and we had to get the temperature on up. So we did let it run and get up to about 190 with cardboard in front of the radiator. And then, of course, when we took the cardboard out of the front of the radiator, it dropped pretty quick. So it was chilly outside. Anyway, this is good to go. We're going to drain the oil. We have a short oil filter on it, a 510-69, which is the short wicks. We're going to put the 510-61R, the long racing oil filter on it, fresh oil, more zinc additive, and then we'll be ready to make some laps with it once we get the body finished. But this comes first. We wanted to knock that out while we weren't able to do this. So, like I said, it was crazy Sunday. A few times we were worried that we wouldn't. Yeah, the power goes off. You can't really see good. So, I didn't want to be in the middle of a weld or cutting something and the power go off. And because I don't know if y'all have ever used a DeWalt portable bandsaw like that, but when the power goes off and you're mid-cut, it will hang and pop the blade off real quick. It's happened. Ask me how I know. So that's where we're at. I'm going to put the video of this running right here. So hopefully it sounds good to y'all. It sounds good to me. It sounds healthy. Brian was pleased with how it sounded. And of course, once it warms up a couple more times, we'll probably run it, warm it up in the shop. We'll check the valve lash. Is that boat you lost?
That bolt.
All right, so this is funny.
Pocket.
This is funny. He just found that bolt in his pocket. When Pops bought those bolts, let me see it. This is a countersunk 3/8 bolt, 5/16 for the carburetor, because this TCC spacer takes a countersunk bolt. All right, so Pops come down here. He had 3 of these. One was missing. So he ended up having to get more. He bought another pack of 2. They come 2 to a pack. So he bought another pack of 2 because we couldn't find that bolt. And he just reached in his jacket pocket and found it. So, well, we got a spare. So, but a few things we need to do right here. Obviously, fuel pressure gauge I just screwed in there so we could see where the fuel pressure was at. That is a brand new Carter fuel pump. M4891, I believe, part number. It's supposed to be 8 PSI. It is not 8 PSI. It gets up to about 3.5, 4, and it quits. It quits making any more pressure. So it done it on Matt's engine. So we thought maybe it was the fuel gauge and the fuel log and fuel line setup. So that's why I bought the KRC fuel log for this one. And then I screwed a new gauge in the back of it. And obviously now we know that we got to get a fuel pump. So I am going to be making another Amazon wish list. I've had some people ask me if they could help, if we still had a wish list. So more than likely there'll probably be a fuel pump on that wish list. And then we need valve cover breathers. So I'll probably put those on the wish list. And then some body stuff. We need body bracing, angle iron, the aluminum angle body bracing, spring steel or whatever works. I mean, I'll see what I can find on Amazon and I'll throw it on the wish list. If you want to help out, I'll have the link to that wish list in the description of this video. So we thank everyone that's helped. I'll have to get my book because I have written down, or my papers are in this toolbox, of everyone that has sponsored us and what they sponsored. So I want to say it was Dylan Jones that sponsored some stuff for the motor, and then there was another guy. And I'm sorry, y'all. Look, I have 20 people I talk to in a day at work, and then I have people messaging and calling about cars, and so everything runs together. So that's why I write it down. But I won't quit talking. We wanted to close out this video. I realized earlier today when I was editing that we didn't finish the video, so that's why we're doing this. We have a lot more video coming, so we're going to continue building Carson's factory stock. Now we're to the point where we can start slinging firewall and floor pan in it, and that'll be the next thing we do. We are going to put one more brace right here. Even though we done the cross member and the seat mount, I still want to brace under the feet. So we're going to put one more brace here, and then we'll be ready to throw our firewall and floor pan in. And once we do that, then y'all know it's game time for all of our mounts, brake pedal mounts. We got 1.25" we got to do up here to do our V bracing. And then we'll start our door bars, foot protection. And then it'll be the final stages. Of course, we got to do our front end up here, radiator mount. Yeah, then it'll be radiator mount and stuff. What is it?
That piece of 120 had over it. I think it's long enough to do that.
Oh, wait, no. Oh, across?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
look.
Or we do them out square.
Yeah.
We done
I
it.
got a piece of that up here.
And so we get all this up here, the front hoop and all that welded on. Radiator mount, we've been doing like this, square tube. And then of course we have a all-star aluminum radiator mount, pot riveted to that square tube. I don't like it. It's to the point where I don't know how I'm going to hold the radiator down. And there's ways I could put tabs, springs. I get all that. I don't like it. We've done it in the past. So to make it cleaner, we are going to do that round bar right here a little further back. And then we're going to tell the customers to order a Joe's clamp-on radiator mount. That way they can clamp it on, put the radiator in it, and it'll be there. It's a lot cleaner, a lot neater. And that's probably what's going to happen right here. I think, because y'all know our fan shroud's a little long. We need to cut it off, but we're not going to cut it yet because we're going to cut that radiator mount out, and I'm going to put that Joe's mount on this bar, and I think our shroud is going to be just right by the time it all bolts on there. So it may work out. But anyway, I'm done rambling. We're going to get out of here. It's cold. I'm freezing. Heater's wide open, so wind chill tonight is supposed to get down in single digits, so tomorrow at work will be fun.
15 tonight.
28 or something high tomorrow.
Yeah. And the wind chill is supposed to be somewhere around 8 degrees, I think, what they said.
So tomorrow will be fun for sure.
Yeah.
But y'all hang out. We thank y'all for hanging out. Thank y'all for watching. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for us. And until next time.
Appreciate it, guys, gals. Thank y'all very much for helping us out, watching us, putting up with us.
Yeah.
And y'all be safe during all of this bad weather. And until next time, God bless you.
See y'all.